Often I'm asked, what is it like in the day of life as an owner of the valet parking company? So this, what I want to do is give you guys kind of a little insight on 1 week ago today, which was Thanksgiving Day. The one particular restaurant that we chose, and I don't like to say any of my restaurant names just for obviously security reasons, but one of the restaurants, this is probably one of the busiest restaurants in Atlanta, hands down. Typically on a Thanksgiving Day, we do between 2,000 and 2,200 reservations. But obviously due to COVID this year, the reservations were down to only 1,200 reservations. Typically, when we do probably 2,000 reservations, I'll have between 10 and 14 valets working efficiently. This includes parking all the cars. We have a person on standby to, not standby, but basically we stand them at a certain location in the parking lot to slow the traffic down getting to us. Then we have another person in a shuttle because if we do use up all the parking on the parking lot, which is about 150 spaces, then we shuttle them off the property and shuttle them back down to the restaurant once everything is said and done. Anyway, this is a crazy restaurant, but on this day, since we're only doing 1,200 reservations, I think we ran it efficiently with 6 valets. Now, typically, I really don't get nervous, but this time I was actually a little nervous, which is good. It keeps me on my toes. And the reason I was nervous, this is the first time we were back at this restaurant since COVID. COVID shut down pretty much all of our restaurants, and this was one of the restaurants that took a very long time to open back up to valet parking. They were doing dine-in services, but the owner felt that the valet parking was only an added kind of hazard to the customers. So they didn't want all these people in their car breathing. So they just nixed valet until it was necessary. And I knew once the holidays came around, they were probably going to call us back. So this was the first time we were valet parking. Again, we're parking quite a few cars. And this is the first time we're parking in this lot again for 8 months. So things were changed. They actually repaved the parking lot. So some of the valets were not exactly used to being there. So yeah, there was a little bit of nervousness that came in on coming back to this restaurant after 8 months. Now, traditionally, I bring in donuts. Yes, it's a very bad habit, but one year we did it, and as a company, and they don't endorse us or anything, but it's called Tip Top Donuts. A little short story, Tip Top Donuts is a small place here in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, North Georgia. And it's a nice place. They cook the donuts fresh every day. Now, what sucks is massive Dunkin' Donuts came in right next door. So what do you think would happen to them? No, the news actually did a story on them, and all the people rallied even more and stopped purposely going to Dunkin' Donuts and started going to this donut place next door, and they put Dunkin' Donuts out of business, which is actually a pretty funny story. Anyway, every holiday I pick up these donuts and I drop them off at the parking lots, and this was one of those days. So I bring probably a couple of dozen of donuts, and then I bring a whole bunch of bottled waters because we're running and sweating throughout the day. So this day starts, and probably the restaurant is operating probably from 11 o'clock in the morning until about 10 o'clock at night, probably 9 o'clock at night. I ended up leaving about 5 or 6 o'clock. But what happened, we started valet parking, and about 20 minutes into it, I'm looking around and I'm standing my distance. Honestly, I don't want to be amidst the valets. The valets know what to do and they know how to do it. I'm just, in a sense, supervising from a distance. If I see anything, I'll call a valet over, or I'll walk over to them and tell them what they did wrong. But anyway, I'm standing back at a distance and I see 2 cars. I think one is a Ford Explorer and the second one is a Mini Cooper. And then all of a sudden I see this Mini Cooper start rolling. All of a sudden, boom, they hit. I'm like, good Lord, and nobody is in the car. So I'm like, did the valet hop out the car? I don't know, because my attention was here. Then I turned here, and this is exactly what happened. Well, what happened, a young lady got out of the car, and she didn't put the car in park. And this happens a lot. And this is our first accident of the day, and this is happening 20 minutes from our start. So I'm like, good Lord, this is going to be a very long, crazy, crazy day. But the girl starts crying. Luckily, there's no major damage. The Explorer in front had a tow hook hitch, and that's what took the brunt of the damage. The Mini Cooper had a minor imperfection in her bumper, nothing major. The girl was crying. I think her feelings were more hurt than anything. And the older owner was still right there. Luckily, nobody was behind the car because that's a very dangerous position to be in. Because naturally, people get out of the car, they walk behind their car to go inside the restaurant. So in a sense, we were quite lucky nothing seriously happened in this one. Now, I have to be honest. One of the reasons I also go out to the parking lot, amazing cars come in on these days because everybody's coming out, they're showing up with their family, and they want to bring their best. Sometimes they call it their Sunday best, but it's Thanksgiving, so it happened to happen on Thursday. But still, we had a Maybach come in again within the first half an hour. Gorgeous car. Absolutely love it. I'm not a big fan of the two-toned, but that kind of is very distinctive for Maybach, so people know that this is the car that's coming in. Next car that came in, of course, was an Acura NSX. It's old school, but of course I love it. Why? Yes, I do have one. And actually, I knew the guy that was coming in with it. He was a good friend of mine, but he didn't realize that we were over this account. And actually, he was going to hesitate getting out of the car, but then as soon as he saw us there, he got out the car without hesitation. Thank you. It's a gorgeous car, but I'm kind of biased. Next, we had actually a Polaris Slingshot come in. And that's not the first one. We get a lot of Slingshots in. And Josh, one of our main valets at one of our other parking lots, is like, oh, of course, I'm familiar with these because he parks so many of them on a given night. The guy wanted to know if he knew how to park the car, and it was actually an automatic. He didn't tell him, dude, you have an automatic. Of course I know how to park your car. Or I don't even know what they're categorized as, a trike, a motorcycle, a three-wheel. Anyway, it was a Slingshot. We had a great time with that. The next one came in was a gentleman in a Porsche GT3 RS. Gorgeous car, totally prepped for the track. He had his racing gloves on and everything. And when you come into this parking lot, I have to be honest, when we get packed to capacity, there's nowhere to park. So if people come in and say, hey, I want to park myself, it's not going to happen unless and there's not even street parking. You probably have to park close to a quarter of a mile away. But there is no street parking for this restaurant. Therefore, we do have to park all the cars in the lot. So I told the gentleman, rest assured, I will take care of your car securely. And he's like, okay, I'll get out of the car. But he's like, this is the first time I've ever let anyone drive this car. And of course, it's a valet. I said, sir, I know that sounds crazy, but if you ever want a valet to drive the car, I'm that person to do so. So he laughed, he giggled, and the car did have, I think, less than 3,000 miles on it, but he enjoyed it. We kept it up front, and it was a gorgeous car that got tons of attention throughout the day. So overall, the day wasn't bad. Luckily, that first incident was the only real incident that we had. I don't think anybody complained. I think we had one person in a Tesla complain about valet parking overall, and they didn't want us in our car or her car. But the thing is, why are you concerned about someone being in your car and you're getting ready to come into a restaurant that's serving over 1,000 people today? I mean, this is not a smart move. I think it was honestly just an excuse that she wanted to park herself, but she came in early enough in the day that we were able to find a space for her and everything was good there. But overall, I think we parked about 317 cars to be exact. And typically on a Thanksgiving, we park between 600 and 700 reservations. So we were less than half. But the valets did great. They did an incredible job. And I really want to thank all of them. Phenomenal job, no issues. We all kept our masks on. We weren't working too hard, but they were working very efficiently. So my team did a great job at this location. You think it's pretty crazy, but this is what I enjoy. Again, this is our industry. I think at this one particular restaurant, this is over 15 years at this location. So we do know everything backwards and forwards. But moving forward, we do have other parking lots that we're running, and I'm going to give you how I ended my night.
Hi, my name is and I would like a call back. I just had an encounter with your two valets. I would like them both fired. They have ruined an $80,000 car, and I expect a phone call back immediately. I will keep calling you. They were rude, they were hostile, and they are incompetent. Please call me back. I will be filing a lawsuit if I do not hear back from you. Thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving.
This is what we deal with all the time. So I'm not going to discuss it any further. We'll continue this on another one, and we will discuss further what that voicemail was all about.